Howdy. Howdy, my name is Isabella Parton. I will be reviewing my case report is over. Howdy, my name is Isabella Parton, and my case report is over Teddy Daniels from Shutter Island. So, kind of a character description is Teddy is played by Leonardo DiCaprio. He is a U.S. Marshal that was sent to Ashcliff which Ashcliff is a hospital, to try and find a missing patient and investigate the missing patient. So this is Ashcliff is a psychiatric facility, so he's trying to, like I said previously, look for that and locate that missing patient. Howdy, my name is Isabella Barton, and I will be reviewing Teddy Daniels from Shutter Island. So, kind of an overall description is Teddy Daniels is played by Leonardo DiCaprio. This is, like I said, the person I will be reviewing for this assignment. So Teddy Daniels is a U.S. Marshal that was sent to Ashcliff Hospital, which is a psychiatric hospital, and he is sent there to investigate a missing patient. So the setting is in the 1950s, which is kind of an era where they didn't really understand mental health, and there was really a lot of limited resources in regards to mental illness and things of that nature. And, treatments for mental health disorders weren't really a thing, and things of that nature. So Ashcliff also mirrors the oppressive culture and stigmatism around and surrounding mental health and mental illness. So my diagnosis for Teddy is he has delusional disorder, which is the persecutory type, and he also has severe post-traumatic stress disorder, which also referred to as PTSD. And this is from serving in the war. He was a previous veteran, so like it says here, trauma from the war, and he also had a family tragedy where he lost his children and also his wife. So cultural stigmas in the 1950s, which, kind of equates with the mental illness, it kind of, means you're weak almost. And the alternative explanations like, war trauma would have likely been emphasized in this time period. So my evidence for symptom 1, we have delusions, again, persecutory type. For example, Teddy believes that he is a U.S. Marshal investigating a conspiracy despite having evidence of being a patient. So essentially, I don't know if I've already mentioned this, but Teddy, he goes into this thinking that he is investigating it, but it turns out he's actually a patient in this psychiatric ward. And so DSM-5 criteria, it does, confirm that he's having persistent false beliefs, which goes into the delusions. And then support persecutory delusions lead to mistrust and lower treatment adherence, which is cited by the Freeman in 2008. So the second symptom that I have is flashbacks and intrusive memories. So this is a very frequent thing that we see with post-traumatic stress disorder. And, this is in other movies, especially war movies. It's kind of a common thing for PTSD patients or people with, who suffer from PTSD. They do have, very intense flashbacks. And so, for example, in this movie, Teddy does experience, and kind of relives those traumatic events like his children dying and also the wartime that he had to experience. And then support PTSD flashbacks are strongly associated with trauma, especially in veterans, which is from Kessler in 1995. So some evidence that I have that is a non-displayed symptom is, something that Teddy doesn't exhibit is hallucinations. So he doesn't, have any, there's no evidence of any sensory distortions, such as voices or visions, and, differentiates Teddy from psychotic disorders like schizophrenia. So, for example, he does have these, intense delusions, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he hears voices in the back of his head and, he sees things that he shouldn't be seeing. So it does kind of separate him, even though, it can kind of seem like he has something like that since he is very delusional. It does not classify him as schizophrenic. So there's a very interesting treatment plan for Teddy, and one is cognitive behavioral therapy, also known as CBT, and this is to kind of challenge those delusions and help him cope with the trauma from this. And exposure from therapy, it is often, desensitizes distressing memories, and to help with that. And then the support, proven effective for reducing delusions and PTSD symptoms, from Van Der Gag in 2014 and then Resick in 2002. So a second one that we have is medication. This is not as, recommended, as since Teddy does experience a lot of delusions and he, feels like everybody kind of has it out for him. He may have a hard time with medication, but if you were to take these, then it would be antipsychotics, also known as, for example, risperidone. This is to help address those delusions, and then antidepressants or analytics to help with PTSD related symptoms. Like I mentioned earlier, ethical concerns, risk of side effects, kind of reinforcing that mistrust that he has for others. So some barriers to treatment is, cultural stigma. Teddy's belief in his U.S. Marshal identity kind of prevents him from the acceptance of getting treatment, and that's kind of where everything begins, is that acceptance period. And then social limitations, like I mentioned previously, that in the 1950s, the mental health practices relied more on coercive methods, like a lobotomy and sedation. And lobotomy, it is, it does play a significant role in this movie, and it is present in this movie or film. And they don't really focus on patient-centered care to really actually get them help and understand, why they're having these mental issues and these disorders. And so instead, they're just trying to, fix them with lobotomies, sedatives, not really help the situation, just control it instead of, actually getting them help. Some broader perspectives is, mental illness in Shutter Island, an accurate portrayal of distress and denial, but also symptoms exaggerated for suspense, for sure. An impact on public understanding. Media often portrays mental illness as dangerous or unpredictable, which kind of perpetuates that stigma again. And then empathy-driven depictions can reduce stigma and promote mental health awareness, listed by Perkis in 2006. And then here are my citations.